it's also hard to sort of hold all of that when sometimes the desires, are difficult. They're challenging. They cause suffering for us. However they do that. So, here we are. We're a group of LGBT men and women, and I'm just in this place where I feel like, when we talk about desire, what comes up for me certainly is sexual desire, lust, love, talking about that. The second piece of chocolate cake, I don't eat it. I don't even eat the cake anymore. I'm just not interested in sugar as I used to be, But the stuff around sex and lust, that's still quite active for me. Loneliness, those are issues that I rub up against. So I'm going to sort of talk about that as compared to all the other desires for more money or for more whatever. And then there's, the desire for world peace. Is that a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing. The desire that all living beings should live, strong and healthy, not a bad thing, But if we're driving our partner crazy because we're really angry because things didn't go well at the meeting that we were at to try to organize all those things, then it becomes, there's suffering attached to it. So it's the craving and the clinging, right? The desire in and of itself is a moment in time. You can judge it if you'd like. I'm not here to judge any of our behaviors. I try not to judge the behavior because it's just symptomatic of something larger that's going on. I allow myself that as I am human, And it takes the edge off a little bit. That's not to say I'm not constantly investigating and looking, trying to see what's really going on. So let me tell you a story. It was, last summer sometime. There's, in Oakland where I live, there's the Art and Soul, which is this large, they block off about 4 blocks, and there's several stages, and there's all kinds of music and booths, and it's quite lovely. And there was a gospel stage, and I like gospel music, so I said, let me go, I'll go. And it was a really lovely day, as it was today, and I had this hat on, and a shirt, and I had my little bag, And so I'm, downtown Oakland, and I'm watching the gospel music and listening, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm kind of singing along. I used to sing in a choir, and or whatever. And this very, very nice young man, sort of, I'm leaning on a parking meter, and he just sort of sidles over, and he starts talking with me, and we start talking, and he's in one of the choirs, It's hard to find gospel music and not find a couple of gay men, So, and he sort of, I don't know what it was, he just sort of came up to me. Well, and then we exchanged numbers, and we've been in communication via email, and I thought, well, how nice, I wasn't even thinking about any of that stuff today, but there it happened. And then I thought, well, I'm going to go see a movie in Berkeley. I love the Shattuck, I love to go to the Indies. That's my landmark. I'm a landmark guy. And so I thought, well, rather than park again and all of that mess, let me just leave the car and I'll just BART it, So I get on the BART downtown 19th Street, wherever the heck I was, and I'm on the platform. And here's this other fellow. And, it's like, I know you're gay, I'm gay, we nod and smile at each other, and then all of a sudden I'm in conversation again. And we get on the BART and we sit together, and it's like, wow, 2 phone numbers in one day, and I wasn't even trying, right? So I thought, well, isn't this interesting? And I'm just trying to notice it, without saying, oh, I got to do something about any of this, just notice, right? So then I'm in Berkeley, and I didn't realize it, but the movie I wanted to see wasn't playing anymore. And there weren't any movies that I wanted to see. So I was in Berkeley. It was a lovely day. I said, let me walk around. So I'm walking around, and here, approaching me, is what we would refer to as, or what I refer to as, a tall glass of water, He's very tall and handsome, and, he's coming my way. And I felt like Joey on Friends, it's like, well, how you doing? And, I felt I should say hello, I just said, hey, how are you? And he smiled and, responded. And so then we both walked, because we're walking in opposite directions. But you know how we do, when there's that juice, so I sort of had to turn around and see what happened. And he had actually stopped. And he started to hesitate, And so then I started to continue to walk in my direction, but very slowly. And was, and was very grateful for a red light, So I'm on the corner and here he comes, right? So here's the third friend for the day, and we actually spent a lot of time talking. He's waiting for a movie. We went for a beverage, phone number, email, etc. And this guy was, my arousal template. He was like, this was, wow. Yeah, I didn't even, sort of, he's out of my league. But no, here we were talking, and I didn't know what was going to come of it, certainly. But I was delighted. And I was just so exhilarated. And even after we said goodbye, and I wasn't even sure at that moment if he was gay, but that became clear by the end of our conversation. For like a day and a half, I just sat with it. It was like, what is it that I'm feeling here? Just feels terrific. It's like, wow, I'm so happy at the possibility of a further connection with this particular person. Now, the other two sort of faded out of sight, because this one was really, whatever. But with this particular connection, and it lasted. I woke up with it, I went to sleep with it, and I woke up again with it, So it lasted like a day and a half, I remember exactly, and I thought, this is not about me. Something else is going on. I mean, I didn't decide to be elated for the next day and a half. I didn't decide that. In the same way that, when we have some cookies and ice cream, we don't decide to digest them. They just do, And the same way that, I scraped my leg on a drawer last week, and it wound up being quite a gash as it turned out. But slowly but surely it scabbed up and now it's healed. It's like I didn't decide to do those things. Those things happen because I'm alive, right? Because we are a part of this life force. There are some things that are occurring that aren't about us really. And I realized I was with a friend in Atlanta. My daughter graduated from Spelman a couple of Sundays ago, and she came and joined me there. And she's in the 12-step program for Overeaters Anonymous, and she said, and she just kept saying it when things were happening or whatever, and if anybody said anything, she said, it's not about me. It's not about me, which is out of the big AA book, and it's true. And I was thinking, it's not about me at that moment when I had met this fellow, So, as you know, I'm into the brain science stuff, Because if we're really investigating the truth of the matter, I think it's important for us to know what's really going on here. I want to say, oh, I felt this, and I felt that, and he felt this, and he felt that. Yes, I guess there's some level of truth to that, but it's not all of the truth, right? So in brain science, there's a fellow named Dr. Larry Young out of Emory University in Atlanta. And he's published this article in the Journal of Comparative Neurology. And he says, our brains have not developed over millions and millions of years to make us happy. They developed to encourage us to reproduce. Through brain scans now, the MRIs are becoming a little bit more sophisticated, and I tremble to think, and I'm thrilled about what the next 10 years will hold in this whole area of discovery that we're in. The brains of people deeply in love do not look like those of people experiencing strong emotions, but instead like those people snorting coke. Love, in other words, uses the neural mechanisms that are activated during the process of addiction. We are literally addicted to love, right? So, it becomes a little bit more involved. It was a while ago now, but I went to, and I think I might have mentioned this the last time I was here, I went to the Esalen Institute for an intensive session for a week with other gay men, led by a fellow named Joe Court out of Michigan, and he did a really good job.